Welcome to the LoadTrek University series using the Route Performance Dashboard. So the Route Performance Dashboard allows you to quickly assess your company's performance. You can view your on-time percentages, your late arrival percentages, both controllable and uncontrollable. You're assessing your company's performance as experienced by your customers. You can view this information in real time. View these indicators by customer and by day. Are your trends improving or declining? And then last and most important, you will be presented with a list of action items, what you can do to improve performance. So here's what it takes to get started. This webinar is for customers who want to quantify and address customer performance. You already have LoadTrek and you have loads and jobs that are assigned to drivers, and these drivers are signing on to their device, either their tablets or their ELD. They're signing on to their device and they're accepting their routes. In real time, you can view the route performance dashboard, assess performance, and find the root cause of any issues. So there are 4 sections to the route performance dashboard: a graphical representation of on time and late by customer and by day. Number 2 is a trend graph. Are we improving or declining? Number 3 is a route performance heat map, which I think you'll find is a really unique and interesting way of viewing performance. And then lastly, number 4 is your action items, what you can do to correct any deficiencies. So you go to web.loadtrek.net, sign in with your company name, your username, your password, and when you're ready, hit log in. This takes you to your dashboard. Your dashboard, of course, can be custom set up for you as an individual. We've covered this in other videos. What you will want to do is click on Route Performance. Let's look at the first area in the route performance dashboard, and the first of these 4 areas is the on-time performance graphs. So here we see a graphical representation of our on-time performance. So the first thing we want to do is to dial in our historical time frame. I could go 30, 60, 90 days or a year. For this exercise, I'm going to look at this particular company for the last 30 days. And how do I define late? I can dial in my threshold. So I've dialed in 15 minutes. 15 minutes variance from the schedule is late. So my first graph shows my company-wide performance by day. Each column represents a day. So you can tell by the height of the column how busy we are for a particular day. You can see our slow days, our slack days, and our busy days. The green indicates on-time performance. Deep blue indicates lates that are controllable, and red or maroon indicates lates that are uncontrollable. Now we split late performance into 2 different categories. But before we go there, you can just kind of get a picture of the overall performance. And you can see things like how weather can affect your performance for a particular day. You can see how traffic patterns can affect performance for a day. For example, you can see on the weekend days when the load counts are lowest, which is on a Sunday, the load counts are the lowest, but the lates are considerably lower as well. Now, let's look at the numbers. So for this 30-day period represented by this graph, we have 84.2% on time and 15.8% late. Now, of these lates, 12.7% is controllable. The responsibility is on the fleet. Could be mechanical, could be driver, could be weather, but for whatever reason, we showed up late to the first stop. However, 3.1% is uncontrollable. We were held up by the customer. We were departing late and therefore arriving late at the next stop by the same or less amount of time. For example, I arrive on time to stop 1, but I'm held up, I'm late leaving by 15 minutes. Therefore, I have a 15-minute excuse, if you will, for every other stop on that route. Now, here's how we get to these numbers. Over a 30-day period, we analyzed every stop, every route, every dispatch, every driver, every location. And over this 30-day period, we made 108,120 stops contained within 42,845 loads that were in turn handled by 18,803 route dispatches. So to break this down, a load is generally comprised of more than one stop, and these 42,845 loads contained within them 108,120 stops, and they were handled by 18,803 route dispatches. In other words, many drivers had two loads within a single tour of duty. Now, it took 1,074 drivers who visited a total of 867 unique locations. So the average driver made just a little over 100 stops, 100.7 stops over this entire 30-day period. Of those 108,120 stops, 17,089 stops were late. Of those, 13,770 were controllable, 3,319 were uncontrollable. So next we go down to our trend graph, and the trend graph simply shows, are we improving or declining over time? The light blue line is the company performance. It's been very stable, and with a bigger company like this, you would expect that. However, I selected a particular customer, and we'll get to that in the next section. I selected a particular customer, and that particular customer's performance is indicated by the dark black line, and you can see that specific customer's performance is actually improving dramatically over the same period of time. So here's a trend graph right in the middle, and then as I select a specific customer, and we'll look at this when we get down to the heat map section, but as I select a specific customer, in this case the 954L3 Alpha customer, not only do I display that customer's trend line, but I also display that customer's totals in the second graph down. So the second graph down shows me the daily totals for the selected boxes. And I can select one customer, I can select one day, multiple customers, multiple days. I can cherry pick every Saturday. I can cherry pick every Tuesday. In this particular case, I just clicked over here on the far right and picked one specific customer all days. And for this specific customer, when I look at them, I see that I was 74.3% on time and 25.7% late. And of those lates, 22.8 was controllable, 2.9% uncontrollable. 33 drivers stopped at 10 locations, a total of 4,723 times over the last 30 days. The next section down. So we looked at the on-time performance graph, the trend line, and the next is the performance heat map. Now, the performance heat map is a really interesting way of looking at your performance. So what we have here, each column going up and down is a day of the week going back 30 days. And you can see this last column was fairly empty because I ran this report very early in the morning and most of the loads had not been completed yet. So the columns represent the day of the week and the rows represent the customers. Now, as I look at these, each cell represents a customer and a day. And the color of that cell tells me their performance. So deep, dark, bright green is the best performance in the entire company. It goes from better to best, the deeper the green. Likewise, a deep dark red is the worst performance in the company. So various shades of red are various shades of not good. Yellow is the median value. And the customers are lined up based on their impact to the company. So some of your customers are going to be big. They have a lot of loads, a lot of routes, a lot of stops, a lot of jobs. These have the highest impact to your company, whereas other customers don't have that much impact. So in descending order goes from most impactful to least impactful on your company score. Now at the very bottom, we find what I think is the most important part of this whole thing. It's interesting to look at the colorful heat map and the graphs, but we need to know where the problems are and what to address. So we can see here on this action item list, one of our columns represents the contract or the customer, and then the next column over represents the worst performer, and the worst performer is always on top. That particular variable that's impacting our company the most, and that variable could be a driver. So out of 1,074 drivers, we just look at this one particular driver. This one particular driver affects our company's performance by 0.12%, which is quite a bit. If I fix this one driver's problem, I have fixed our score by over 1/10 of 1%. And you know what? It could be many things. It could be the drivers showing up late for dispatch. Maybe the driver's showing up late but leaving late on dispatch. And there's reports for this. You can easily see this. Late route starts, early route starts, those type of reports. Perhaps the driver's shown up on time and has to wait on equipment. Perhaps the driver continually has equipment problems, which you can see on your pre and post reports. Whatever it is, this tells you in descending order which drivers to look at, but it isn't always drivers. It can also be locations. Sometimes certain locations are just constantly holding up the works here. And this particular location, out of 167 locations that we serviced, this one location impacts the entire company's score by 0.1%. Figure out the problem at this location, you've improved your score by 0.1%. Pretty significant. So again, you have LoadTrek, you have loads and jobs that are assigned to drivers. The drivers are signing on with their ELD or their tablets, accepting their routes, running their routes, and in real time, you can review the route performance dashboard, assess their performance, and drill into, using exception-based analytics, drill into the root cause of any issues. 4 different areas in the route performance dashboard: the graphical representation of on time and late by customer and by day, the trend graph that shows whether we're improving or declining, the route performance heat map, which gives you that colorful graphical representation by day and by customer, where our problem areas and our good areas are, and then any action items. So if you have any questions, please visit our website, LoadTrek.net. Give us a call at 877-226-0107 or visit us with email, support@loadtrek.net. We're here to help. Let us know how we can do so.